a guy in the water in his kayak while Keegan Harbor. They've got him. They're getting him out right now, it looks like. But, not fun. Except for they got the motor running right next to him. What's going on? What the hell are they doing?
Hey, what's up guys? Michael here, ChiCityYaker. Today's video is a big departure from what I normally post here on my channel, where I focus on educating people on how to kayak fish Lake Michigan for salmon and trout. I try to entertain in the process, but today's video, we need to have a real conversation in why it's very likely that you have no business being out on Lake Michigan on your kayak. I'm sorry I have to say it, but this is a sad reality, because since I started doing this and since I started sharing my experiences on the water on my channel, I understand that it's motivated people to go out and want to do this. Listen, I get it. It's why I do it. It's exciting, it's fun. You know, you have a chance at a very big fish here. There's a thrill-seeking element to this kind of a fishing, but there's also the reality of you could lose your life in the process. Things could turn, you know, in an instant, and you'll be stuck out there in some terrible conditions. I've been doing this since 2013, and in my career fishing Lake Michigan, I've been caught in about 5 hairy situations. I've gone overboard once on the lake, and it's always something that I'm very aware of and always do my best to be prepared. And I always go on the water expecting to fall in, so that when it does happen, I am prepared and I handle that situation. The sad reality is that there's an uptick in year over year of more and more kayak anglers full sending it out on the lake when they have no business doing so. They have the wrong kayak, they don't have a dry suit, they have no experience on this kind of a body of water. You've only fished lakes and ponds, and now you just wanna, I'm gonna go catch some coho, I'm gonna go, you know, catch a king, and the water temps are in the 40s and 50s, and you have zero experience. You do not belong on the water. And you have to understand, it's not me shunning you, but I'm saying this out of care and concern for your own safety. Even if you're not taking your own safety seriously, you have no business being out in the water. There was a video which I shared here in this video recently of a kayak angler that went out, didn't even make it out into the open water. They were in the harbor channel and somehow flipped over. And when I tell you everything that could possibly go wrong in this situation went wrong. The individual didn't have a dry suit on. The individual could not re-enter their kayak. The individual was wearing waders. Waders are a death trap. You should never wear waders. The kind of waders you go wear on a river, don't bring those on your kayak. The minute water gets sucked into the bibs and into it, you're done. It's trapped. You're like a big wet sock, and you can't function. You can't move your limbs because you got all that weight. You're trying to lift yourself with additional weight. It's a death sentence. And yet we see people wearing no dry suit, or they're wearing jeans. These are things that will soak up that water and keep you cold. Like, you have to take this seriously if you're going to do this kind of fishing. If you have never been on Lake Michigan and you want to go out here to do it, you got to take baby steps. You just can't full send and go into the open water. You are inviting a disaster to happen. And it has to be said, because again, year over year, we're seeing more and more kayak anglers getting into the sport, which is great, but you're getting into it and want to, for example, I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, yeah, I want to go out there and catch a king in the summer. Well, buddy, you're talking about you're having to go offshore a couple miles, and you've never done this before. It's not easy even for somebody experienced like me to catch salmon in the summer when you got to fish 80 feet down in 100 feet of water. It's challenging, right? It takes some skill and experience to do that. And yet you have guys that want to full send it in the middle of summer in a little Pelican kayak. Like, guys, please stop. I'm not ranting just to rant, because I do want to share some steps here that you can take to prepare yourself to do this kind of a fishing for your own goddamn safety. All right, this is like tough brother love right now. And I hope you guys understand, I'm not directing to any individual. These are learning examples, but I'm saying this very passionately because I care about the kayak angling community and their safety. If enough bad things happen to folks out here in the kayaks, one, that's terrible for them and their families. Secondly, that's gonna have a detrimental impact to the rest of the kayak fishing community. Three, that may, as a result, the laws and bodies of, harbors, you don't know what kind of stipulations they may place that then limit kayak anglers from fishing because they're trying to take precautions, even when individuals aren't taking their own precautions. Like, there's a lot of things that can go bad from this. And so what I want to share with you is some very basic fundamental steps you need to take and put in place before you even think about going out on Lake Michigan if you've never fished before. And again, I always want to encourage people to try and experience it, but you have to do it the right way, and you have to do this in a way that is going to be as safe as possible. Now, you're never going to be fully guaranteed safety. Anything can happen, right? But you want to take the steps to at least be fully prepared and mitigate the chances for something bad to happen. All right, so first things first, if you're fishing in cold water temperatures and the air's cold, you need to have a dry suit. Stop playing around, make the investment. It's gonna run you somewhere between $500 to $1,000 roughly for a decent quality dry suit. You need to have a dry suit, all right? It's not worth playing with your life. If you fall in, the dry suit's gonna buy you time. It's gonna buy you enough time to hopefully recover. That leads me into step two. Vast majority of you don't even practice recovery into your kayak. Every season I get out, when I do my shakedown trip, I take the kayak out, I got my dry suit on, I dump the kayak in the water, and I literally walk into the water from the boat ramp all the way to my neck so that, one, it allows me to remember the feeling of that cold. It's hard for me to explain what the cold water feels like on your body with the dry suit. It just feels like a cold blanket is around you because you don't feel the wetness, but you feel the cold around you. And so again, these dry suits are meant to buy you time, right? So I go in there in the water all the way to my neck to ensure, one, that my dry suit isn't leaking anywhere, there aren't any holes or anything like that. Make sure that it's good to go. All the zippers are fully closed and nothing's leaking in the zippers. You got to do your dry suit tests. Now, once the dry suit's done, I go ahead and practice the recovery, make sure I'm good to go. And the other thing too is when you do recovery, don't do your recovery with your kayak stripped down. Put all of the shit that you're gonna have in your kayak on there and then do the recovery, because a lot of you are not thinking about how to recover when you have everything all up and down the gunnels and it's blocking your entryway. I have set my stuff up so that I have enough room on each side, well, on my port side, to re-enter on my port side, because I have a live scope on my right side, right? I've set it up purposely with, I gotta leave myself some space over here, so that's the room that I have. I also set it up so on my side for my live scope and my downrigger, if I need to quick eject them with the Yak Attack lock and load system, I can unclip it and dump it in the water, right? Because at that point, I don't give a shit about paying for an $80 downrigger versus my life. I will unhook it and dump it in. It gives me even more room to recover. You're not thinking forward on a bad situation, right? So already at the gate, there's a couple of things you need to be doing bare minimum. From there, most folks have their radios, but even then, do you know what radio channels that all the other boaters are on in that area so that you can radio in over the boat channel for help? Do you know how to call into the Coast Guard on an emergency channel? Do you even know what the emergency channel is for the Coast Guard? Like, if you don't know these, if you don't have the answers to these questions, you don't belong out here. You do not belong out here. And I'm being honest with you. And someone needs to tell you that. You do not belong out here. You need to have your lights on board so people can see you in low light. On top of that, you just need to pick the days when you go out and stop being dumb and going out there when the winds are kicked up. You have no business being out there, right? Even for me, I am always looking at the winds. I'm trying to go out when it's as nice as possible. Even with all the experience I have in tougher conditions, I don't want to fish in that crap. It's not worth it. And so you have to be smarter. You have to be prepared in what you're going to do if you want to do this kind of fishing, because again, we're seeing too many people getting into this kind of fishing that have no business doing it. You have no experience. You're going out there without a buddy. Utilize the buddy system. I have a kayak fishing group on Facebook that's been around for 5 years now that guys can join. You can ask for some other folks you want to fish with, meet up. You can befriend some people. You can join that as well. Or whatever, find another buddy. Ideally, you want to find someone that's a little more experienced on the water that can help show you the ropes, right? These are the things that you need to do and the steps you need to take if you want to do this kind of a fishing. And if it's not within your budget to buy that dry suit, if it's not within your time to put out here to learn the water and get acclimated in little baby steps, sit in the harbor for a little bit, sit at the mouth of the harbor and get used to the open water, just putz around there for a little bit without even fishing, then this ain't for you, because you really got to put your time in here and get used to it. Get a feel for your kayak. How does it handle? You got to have the right kayak. In fact, you know, if you have a 12-foot or less kayak, stay off the water. I mean, outside of like the harbor fishing, which is okay, you can get away with a smaller kayak if you're in the harbor specifically. But once you're talking about going into open water, 12-foot minimum. You want a 12-foot minimum. All right, that 12-foot or longer gives you more stability to roll over these waves. 12-foot minimum for your kayak. And again, if you don't have this, if your kayak is not that, stick to the ponds and stick to the rivers that you've been fishing, because you're risking everything to go out here for a coho, and it's not worth it. This video is totally unscripted, more of a rant, cautionary tale that I hope you all will take heed to. It's sad that I have to make this kind of a video, but I do feel a sense of responsibility, because folks will see some of my content and get inspired by it, which is great. I love it. They see me, you know, catch a king. They see me out there and the water's flat, calm, you know, but they don't know the work that goes into it for me to research it and be like, okay, it looks like today is going to be a good day to go out there. They're not putting in the time on the water to get acclimated and all that stuff. I've built this up over years of experience through trials and tribulations as well, but I was always smart about it and try to mitigate a lot of this from happening as possible. And that's something that a lot of folks out here that are getting into this kind of fishing need to do as well. All right, so that's it, man. I wish you all the best out there. Stay safe. And one more thing I will say, and I'll end it here, is if you are an experienced kayak angler here on Lake Michigan, don't be afraid to call someone out at the ramp. If you see that they're not wearing a dry suit, say something. If you see they don't got the right kayak, tell them. There's always the right way to say it. I'm not saying go after them and attack them, but hey, bud, man, I really don't think that's a good idea, man. Hey, bud, I really don't think your kayak's really gonna handle this really well. There's a way to communicate that. And if they don't heed the warning, so be it, but you did your part to at least try to help someone out, look out for someone, even if they don't realize what they're doing is a mistake. So I challenge all the veteran kayak anglers on the Lake Michigan kayak fishing community to hold these folks accountable, educate them for their own safety. And to those that are already doing it, big salute to you guys. To the other kayak anglers that come to the help of other kayak anglers on the water, you know, big ups to you, man. It's important, you know, we gotta look out for each other, and we gotta be smart out in the water. And I'll leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.